And good evening, everyone. My name is Albert, and this is Vlogs About Nothing. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your Thursday evening to join me. I really appreciate it. Kind of getting a late start here tonight, but it's all in good fun because that's just kind of the way things are. And so I do hope that you guys are well. You feel me? It is Friday tomorrow, so for the majority of everyone, that means that you'll have the weekend to look forward to and more videos from your boy here. So let's get started. Tonight, I want to talk to you about pajamas. All right. So I feel like we've pretty much explored the greater surface area of all there is to be explored. I find that often in life, to be creative, you have to continuously sort of push the bounds of what you think is fun and what could be perceived differently, perhaps from a different kind of perspective and so forth. And so that's why I spend a lot of my life thinking about topics that are completely irrelevant in the larger sense of what's like important. You know what I mean? Because we talk about what's really important here a lot on the channel. And just because this is my show and I have no boss here and it's just a kind of great free speech platform to have, I kind of like to provide a kind of balance. I mean, it's vlogs about nothing after all. The bulk of the show revolves around my daily life and all of the things that I encounter, while then the rest of it is just some straight extemporaneous speaking in a improv way about other stuff, you know what I mean? So like, don't ever hate me for my opinions, because I don't necessarily hate people for theirs. I mean, unless like they want to, do terrible things to the majority of people, which I feel like some people are genuinely out to do, like, I mean, there's a presidential election going on, so there's some crooks there. Arguably, there's some other crooks that formally name the actual votes that get allotted from that particular place to the electoral college by the electoral college officials. These guys submit results to themselves to then certify to send to Uncle Sam to verify those results. Anyways, we're talking about pajamas, and I feel like voting is on everybody's mind, and I feel like I keep seeing these completely irrelevant things happening all over the country, right? So, for example, in Georgia, and this is just a quick sidebar, but in Georgia, they just recently experienced a record breaking early voting presence there because, well, they like to believe that voting is important and that in some way, shape, or form, all of those under marginalized and underrepresented people are actually going to have some kind of a say moving forward in what happens. But the irony of the whole situation is that, and I've argued this from the moment, is that the current way that the system is going is not going to do anybody any sort of service, right? At least not any of those that really need the kind of help that this kind of country can provide for all of those people who do, in fact, need its assistance. I mean, not all of us can be CEOs or tech bros, And at some point, CEOs and tech bros have to realize that the people they sell their products to also need money so that they can buy their stuff, Tech bros, I mean, people need money to continue to shop on Amazon. Anyways, so pajamas are part of everyone's life, you know what I mean? Either you wear them or you don't. And that's literal, right? Like, as in you literally wear something to bed or you don't. And that's fine. I mean, is that a bad thing to talk about? Do we not want to talk about how we sleep? Is this not cool? I mean, you know, it's just one of those things, right? I guess I don't hear people talk about, sleeping, like, essentially. I'm pretty shameless. I mean, at some point in my life, I'd definitely vlog myself sleeping because that's like the best way to possibly potentially make money if you think about it. I mean, it's super invasive and like you wouldn't really normally think you'd want to see other people watch you sleep. But like, I don't know, I got nothing going on. I mean, I'm not a weird sleeper. I just sleep, so it's cool. We're good. I don't know. I just feel like if that weren't the standard, like, what do other people do in bed? And then I think to myself, that's a place I don't want to go, right? Because, like, there's just so many stories, and there's so many billions of people, and in the modern sort of privileged world, right, there's hundreds of millions of people all over the world, and I'm not sure if their habits while they are in bed are something that they'd want to maybe share with the world. I don't know. I know that's another sidebar, but it has to do with pajamas, in that we made a video recently about how we act, how we dress, and I feel like we also act like the way we feel when we're not dressed, you know? I mean, does not it not work both ways? I feel like it should. Anyways, so pajamas. I mean, listen, it almost feels like the older you get and the more privileged that you remain, right, or consistent throughout your life, or the higher you move up through the social system, the richer you get, the more money you get. You feel me? I guess the better your pajamas get, one, and two, it doesn't matter. Regardless, age, I think, also brings some kind of uniformity to sleep. In that, I mean, everyone at some point, I was considering buying some matching pajama set pants and t-shirts the other day at the thrift store, and then I feel like thrift store pajamas might be like thrift store underwear, right? Like, no one else wants to talk about that too, and that, like, I mean, it's cool, but is it? I mean, like, yeah, we can wash clothes and stuff, I get it, but just the thought, I mean, is that weird? I mean, I think it is, right? Because if you really needed underwear or pajamas, you wouldn't really, like, have that kind of privilege to really discern, what's ethical sourcing at that particular time, right? Like, if you needed that or whatever. Um, yeah, so, TMI, okay, I've publicly said enough over the course of these 700 videos as it concerns my particular feelings and underwear, right? Again, and this is not one of those gross things. Let's not make this into something that it isn't, because that's not what it is. It's just a funny thing to talk about. These habits that we have, that as human beings, I mean, we dress up to go outside, we dress up to go to the bank. We dress up for the part, you know what I mean? And then we don't dress up for the part. So it's like, I don't know, we're all just enjoying this experience. But truly, our pajamas are a big part of us. I personally prefer plaid pajamas. I know there was a point in my time in my early 20s where I was doing some serious bachelor work, right? As it concerned, my own experiences with my straight sexuality and my promiscuity, all of these things. I'm going to be 37 in a few days, okay? In case you guys didn't know that. I look like I'm applying for AARP next week, but that is in fact not the case. I'm only 37, and so my early 20s were like just a couple of decades ago, you know what I mean? But regardless, there was a time where I owned what I believed to be like one of my, more attractive traits. So, like, I have, girls stay over the night or whatever, and like I'd wear these plaid polo pajamas, like, and just I always got complimented on them. You know what I mean? It was always like, dang, those are cool pajamas. And like I rode with that, that was in my repertoire of like tools to try and pick up women as a single early 20s man. I'm like, okay, if we get to the part where we can get to our pajamas, I'm like, I know that I'm going to wake up a happy guy. I mean, so anyways, again, almost 20 years ago, we're all in our early 20s at some point. Let's not take that into a place that it doesn't belong. Anyways, pajamas are just, okay, so for example, recently in my life, I had the opportunity to experience a very long and endearing relationship with a woman who was greater than 22 years my age. And so, again, we had a relationship where at some point in our lives we had spent every night together for a substantial period of time. Longer, I spent more time with this woman in bed as it concerns, like, daily, nightly sleepovers than I have with any other woman, and I'm almost 40. So I don't just, like sleep like actually sleep, perform the action of sleep with many women, or have not, because I'm only middle aged or whatever. So like that's just kind of to put that into perspective, right? So that happened to me. And so in that time, I got the opportunity to see how older women, or this older woman, practiced her end of the night routine, and the pajamas were like something that my grandma would wear. This was the major distinction in our age class, was that like when we were going to bed, I was, I mean, again, I'm 36. I was in my mid 30s when we were seeing each other, but still, I mean, I don't know, my vibe is still more like polo, kind of thing at the end of the night in my pajamas, if I'm wearing pajamas to sleep and stuff. So, I mean, it's just interesting that, like, you date somebody so much older and their world is so much different. Like, it's like you're watching one of those really old TV shows, and you're like, whoa, man, this is the type of pajama, literally, that, like, that my grandma would wear, in terms of, like, just the oldness of it, right? Like, just, man, that belongs in the Brady Bunch. And there's nothing wrong with that. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, if I'm ever in my mid 50s and I'm dating somebody 22 years younger than me, and I'm still rocking Polo Ralph Lauren, plaid pajamas, thinking that, like, it's doing me a service or whatever, when, like, the world has changed, like, on over, and they're now, like, comparing my style to, like, the tech bro days of vlogging, and just, I'm like, whoa, I gotta be more forward thinking here. So anyways, pajamas are just, we need to evolve with pajamas, right? Because otherwise you might end up, being single and then dating somebody a lot younger than you, that is inevitably going to point out the fact that there's literally like a long time between you guys, and that it's probably not going to work out. You know what I mean? Like, just the larger sense of all those things. I hope that you guys have a really good night. Thanks for watching my show, and until next time, bye.